Well, it's not often that I can go to a racetrack and say that Ronnie Peterson in the Lotus Ford has the lap record dating back to 1973, but that's exactly what we've got here on the old Montjuic Park circuit, this spectacular setting on the mountain above Barcelona. Plaza España to one side, the port on the other, and these very streets hosted Grand Prix racing for cars and for bikes one way or another between 1933 and 1975. The pit and paddock area was all here on the right hand side, and this is the Olympic Stadium. This is the stadium that used to be home to the Espanyol Football Club and of course famously hosted the 1992 Olympic Games. Down then through the Racente section, of course, this all used to be lined by Armco barriers, past the museum and the map of the circuit there on the right hand side. And now we're coming down to the spectacular Anguro de Miramar hairpin, so it's basically the sea view hairpin if you like. Montjuic itself meaning the Jewish mountain in Catalan, because this part of the city used to be the home of the Jewish community back in the day. This is my favourite part now of the track, and this really still does feel like a racetrack, doesn't it? Down to the famous right hand of the hairpin at Rosaleda. There's some spectacular shots down into here of people like Niki Lauda in the Ferrari with the big airbox on the top of it, the red and white livery that year. Down into the left-hander now then at Font de Gat, and then we're passing the Greek theatre. Now back then it was known as the Penya Rhin GP, and the Penya Rhin was the motorsport community, the federation if you like, here in Catalonia, and they set up motor racing first of all on the streets of Vilafranca, which is about 30 kilometers south of here. Thanks for not signalling. And then 1933 they came here to Montjuic Park, past the police station then on the right hand side. So as I was saying, it was 1933 when they bought the Penya Rhin Grand Prix back. I bet Clay Regazzoni didn't have to stop here, did he? And back then it was all about Maseratis and Bugattis and of course Alfa Romeos, Tazio Nuvolari in one of those. But by the time 1935 came along, it was also the time of the German might, auto unions and Mercedes-Benz, and Mercedes did indeed lead a 1-2 here in the Grand Prix in 1935. Whoa! That's typical of Barcelona as well. This is La Pergola, very, very quick part of the track. 1936, incidentally, was a spectacular race here because somehow Nuvolari, in his Alfa Romeo, held off the Mercedes of Rudolf Caracciola, another pre-war great, and won that race. Spain was then plunged into civil war. Then, of course, we had the Second World War, and racing didn't come back to Montjuic Park for a long, long time. You had to go right forward then to the 1960s. It all came to a pretty torrid end in 1975. The race leader, Rolf Stommelen, in his Hill Ford. Rear wing came off, car hit another one, launched into the air. 4 spectators and a marshal were killed. Stommelen himself, amazingly, escaped the wreckage. The Curva San Jordi, St George's Corner, because San Jordi, St George, is not only the patron saint of England, but he's the patron saint of Catalonia as well. Well, somebody's got the right idea. Lamborghini, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo. But you know what? Despite all of the history, despite the glorious views of Barcelona, despite the challenge that this circuit clearly was, do you know what this place is special for me? I learned to drive on the streets of Montjuic Park. I quite like that. Yeah, I learned to drive just on a Formula 1 Grand Prix circuit, as you do.